friends, myself Suresh VS, welcome back to my channel. Let us continue the lesson, The Enemy by Pearls S. Buck. So please take page number 26, paragraph 3rd. In the previous class, we have discussed that Hannah and her husband, Mr. Sadowa, Dr. Sadowa, both of them were leading a very happy life. They were leading a comfortable life. Now, they are standing outside the house in a relaxing mode. And that time, what happened there? Let us see. It was at this moment that both of them saw something black come out of the mist. While they were standing there, they saw something coming out of the sea. What was that? It was a man. A man was coming out of the mist, they noticed. He was flung up out of the ocean. He was thrown violently, that's flung. He was thrown violently out of the ocean. And he moved out. It seemed to his feet by a breaker. It seemed that he was made to stand on his feet by a breaker. Breaker means, yes, big wave. He staggered a few steps. Thereafter, he moved unsteadily. He walked unsteadily. He was not able to walk properly. He made a few steps. His body outlined against the mist. They were able to see the body of that man like an outline, or his body sketched out of the mist. Like a sketch, it was visible in the mist. His arms above his head. He was keeping his arms above his head. Then the curled mist hit him again. And afterwards, again that man was covered by the curled means round mist. Who is that? Hannah cried. Immediately Hannah shouted, who is that? She dropped Sadowa's arm and they both leaned over the railing of the veranda. Immediately Hannah left the hands of Sadowa and both of them bent, leaned means bent, over the railing of the veranda to look at who was there. They wanted to see who was there. Now they saw him again. Now the man was visible again. The man was on his hands and knees crawling. What was he doing now? Now the man was on his hands as well as his knees. He was crawling. He was dragging his body. Then they saw him fall on his face and lie there. And afterwards, the man fell on his face and lay there. A fisherman, perhaps, Sadowa said, washed from his boat. Perhaps it may be a fisherman, yes, thrown out of a ship, floated out of a ship, maybe a fisherman. He ran quickly down the steps and behind him Hannah came. So Sadowa started running towards the beach and beside him Hannah was there. That time her wide sleeves were flying in the air. A mile or two away, on either side there were fishing villages. You see that both sides of their place, 1 mile or 2 miles, on both sides of their place, what was there? Fishing villages were there. But this place, but here was only the bare and lonely coast. But this place where Sadowa and Hannah, lived, that was a bare or a lonely area. There were no other inhabitants except doctor and his wife. Because these areas were filled with dangerous rocks. Yes, coast dangerous with rocks. The surf beyond the beach was spiked with rocks. The surf beyond the rocks. The surf means the mass or the line of foam. Yes, formed by waves. So the surf or the foam beyond the beach was spiked with the rocks. Spiked means covered with the pointed rocks. That area was covered with the pointed rock. So it is very dangerous. Somehow the man had managed to come through them. They thought, the man had managed to come through that spiked rocks. Surely he must be badly torn. He must be badly injured. Torn means injured. They thought that the man must be badly, very badly wounded or hurt. They saw when they came toward him that indeed it was so. So when they reached near to that man, as they thought, they could see that the man was injured. It was definitely, so it was clear that the man was injured as they had thought. The sand on his one side of him had already a stain of red soaking through. So the side of the man that was spread with the sand had a red blood mark. The stain means mark. Already it had the stain mark or blood mark, which was soaked with, absorbed with blood. He is wounded, Sado exclaimed. So after seeing him, Sado said, yes, this man is wounded. He had made haste to the man. He moved quickly, he moved towards the man and who lay motionless. The man was lying there motionless without any movement. That means the man was unconscious. His face was there on the sand. An old cap stuck to his head soaked with the sea water. So the man was wearing an old cap which was soaked with wet with the sea water. He was lying. He was in wet rags or garments. See, the man was in wet rags. His clothes were completely wet, and you see that he was wearing torn garments or clothes. Sado stopped. Immediately Sado stopped there, Hannah at his side, and turned the man's head. They turned the head of the man, and now they saw the face of that man. Immediately Hannah whispered, murmured, spoke very slowly, a white man. Yes, it was a white man. The wet cap fell away and there was his wet yellow hair, long through for many weeks it had not been cut, and upon his young and tortured face was a rough yellow beard. When his cap fell down, they saw that the long yellow hair, that means his hair was not cut for many days or for a long time. And also on his tortured face, that means his face shows he had been tortured. Why? Because there were so many marks on his face. So on his tortured face, what was there? Yes, the long beard was also there, yellow beard. He was unconscious and knew nothing that they did for him. The man was unconscious, so he did not know whatever Hannah and Sado did for him. Now Sado remembered the wound, and with his expert fingers he began to search for it. Immediately Sado thought about his wound, and he started with his expert hand, because he is an expert surgeon, and with his expert hand he started searching for the wound. Where is that wound? Blood flowed freshly at his touch. When he touched it, you see that the blood again started moving out or flowing out. Bleeding started again. When he touched it became fresh. The wound became fresh. On the right side of his lower back, where it was on the right side of the lower back, there was a wound that was made with or happened by gunshot. A gun wound had been reopened. As he had touched it, his gun wound that reopened, it opened again. The flesh was blackened with powder. So the flesh there that was blackened with powder, that means the man had applied some powder there in order to stop the bleeding. Sometime, not many days ago, it happened a few days ago, but not many days ago, the man had been shot. They found out that the man had been shot and had not been tended, and afterwards the man had not been tended, that means not looked after or not treated. It is bad chance that the rock had struck the wound, and now it's a bad chance for him. Why? Because those pointed rocks stuck or hit the wound again. So the wound became fresh and it started bleeding. Oh, how he is bleeding, Hannah whispered again in a solemn voice. So in a very serious voice, Hannah said, see this man, how he is bleeding. The mist screened them now completely. The mist covered them. Yes, screened them means covered them completely. And at this time of day, no one came by. And you see already it is so late. And this late hours, there nobody comes. The fishermen had gone home, and even the chance of beachcombers. Beachcombers means searches at the beach. We can say rat pickers. Would have considered the day at an end. You see that there won't be any fishermen, and not even the beach searches or rat pickers, because the day was very late and it has been so late, and the day had come to an end. And so there won't be there would be any chance of or even any unexpected rack purpose could not be seen in these late hours there. What shall we do with this man? So there won't be any fisherman or rag pickers, nobody else. So Hannah asked, Sado asked, what would we do with this man? He muttered, means that he spoke slowly. But his trained hands seemed of their own will to be doing what they could to staunch the fearful bleeding. Staunch means restrict or stop. But his expert hand, it was searching for something to stop that stop or restrict that bleeding. Why? Because it was bleeding in such a way. It was a fearful bleeding, heavy bleeding that can cause for the death of the man. So he was searching for something to stop it. He packed the wound with the sea moss. You know, sea moss, that's a green plant that spreads over damp surface. So immediately he found out some sea moss, and with that he covered the wound and strewed the beach. Strewed means lay over the beach. So he found out some sea moss, and with that he tried to cover the wound. The man moaned with pain in his stupor. Stupor means unconsciousness, but he did not waken. And you see that when he did this, that was his first treatment. When he did that, the man moved a little bit with great pain. Moaned. Moaned means made a sound of pain. And he made a sound of pain in his unconsciousness, but he did not awaken. He did not get up from this faintness. The best thing that we would do would be to put him back in the sea, Sado said. What can we do? Sado said the best thing to be done that could be keeping the man again to the sea. He answered himself. Now that the bleeding was stopped for the moment, he stood up and dusted the sand from his hands. Now the bleeding had stopped for some time. Now Sado stood up and he cleaned his hands because sand or dust were there on his hand. Yes, undoubtedly that would be best. Then Hannah said, there is no doubt that would be best. Keep the man again to the sea. Hannah said this steadily, very firmly. But she continued to stare down at the motionless man. But continuously she was looking at looking continuously at the man. If we sheltered a white man in our house, we should be arrested. And if we turned him over as a prisoner, he would certainly die. So that was the case. If they take the man to the house or sheltered the man in the house, surely Sado and his wife would be arrested by the police. But if they give this man to the police or the army, surely this man would die because he is an American soldier. So an American soldier is the enemy of Japanese. Then he would certainly die, Sado said. The kindest thing would be to put him back into the sea. So the kindest thing that they could do, yes, what it is, to put him back into the sea, who said? Hannah said. But neither of them moved. Even though they talked such a way, neither of them moved from there. They were staring with a curious repulsion upon the inert figure. They were continuously looking continuously at this curious repulsion. That means curious means here, a strange. Repulsion means a dislike. With a strange dislike, they were continuously looking at this motionless figure. Inert figure, that means a motionless person. What is he? Hannah whispered. What is he? There is something about him that looks American. Oh, there is something about him. He is an American. Sado said. He took up the battered cap. Battered means weathered after using it for a long time. So he took the cap. And is there almost gone was the faint lettering. And you see that the letters on the cap were almost faded. But he was able to read it. What was that? A sailor, he said. After going through these letters, he said, yes, this man is a sailor from an American warship. He is an American soldier. He spelled it out, U.S. Army. It was written there, U.S. Army. He spelled it out. The man was a prisoner of war. This man was a prisoner of war. He has escaped, Hannah cried softly. That means this man had escaped from the, prison or maybe captivity of the Japanese. And that is why he is wounded. That's why this man is wounded. In the back, Sado agreed. That also in the back. They hesitated, looking at each other. Then Hannah said with a resolution. And both of them, you see that they were in doubt what to do. They hesitated. They were in uncertainty what to do. They looked at each other. Come, are we able to put him back into the sea? So then come. Are we able to put this man again into the sea? If I am able, are you? Sado asked. If I am able, are you able to do that? No, Hannah said. But if you can do it alone, if you can do it alone, you do it. I cannot do it. Sado hesitated again. And you see that Sado could not do it again. The strange thing is, he said that if the man were whole, I could turn him over to the police without difficulty. You see that if this man were, if the man were whole, that means if he was injured, if he was not injured, if he was unhurt, I would have handed over this man to the police. I care nothing for him. In that case, I would have been careless. He is my enemy. See, he is an American, he is my enemy. All Americans are my enemy. And he is only a common fellow. And you see that he is a common fellow. All Americans are my enemy. You see how foolish his face is, but since he is wounded. You see that how foolish this man look. But the problem is that he is wounded. You also cannot throw him back to the sea, Hannah said. Oh, you also cannot throw him back to the sea? Then there is only one thing to do. We must carry him to the house. Then only one thing that we can do. We must carry him to the house. But the servants, Sado inquired. But what about the servants? What will do with the servants? Sado asked. Now let us see the other part of the story in our coming videos. Okay, thank you dear students for watching it. Please like and subscribe my channel. Thank you very much.